Let's jump right in. Everywhere you look these days, people are talking about how artificial intelligence is basically going to revolutionize every single aspect of our lives and our economy. But in this explainer, we're zooming in on a pretty profound warning from visionary thinker Simon Sinek. He makes this fascinating argument that we are all so completely blinded by the incredible things AI can produce that we're totally ignoring the value of the human struggle it's replacing.
To really wrap our heads around this, just imagine this super relatable scenario Sinek paints. Let's say you have a massive blowout fight with your partner. You really want to do the right thing, make amends, but you kind of hate conflict. So what do? You open up ChatGPT and you literally type, "Hey, we had this fight. Here's exactly what happened. Tell me what to say." And out pops this totally flawless apology. Something like, "Babe, I want to take full accountability. I'm really sad this happened and I care deeply about this relationship." So you go and read it to them. And then they look at you and ask, "Did you get this from ChatGPT?" And you have to look them in the eye and admit, "Yeah, I did." I mean, just imagine the dead silence in that room. How is that actually going to go down?
And honestly, this brilliantly captures the crazy tension we're facing right now. Because on paper, you did everything right. The words were absolutely flawless. But by using them, you stripped away all the humanity. You completely removed the genuine vulnerability, that awkward bumbling and fumbling, the messy effort that actually builds trust in a relationship. Sinek argues that wading through the clunky, uncomfortable reality of an argument is precisely the thing that makes you closer. You don't get closer because you nailed the phrasing. You get closer because you rumbled through getting it wrong, together.
Okay, let's move into part one, the paradox of output.
To really understand where things are going off the rails, we have to look at our society's total obsession with final products. We are a seriously results-obsessed culture. We only care about the output, the performance, the shiny final deliverable, right? So when we look at AI, we are absolutely blown away by its ability to write the book or paint the masterpiece or solve complex code in 5 seconds. But we are completely forgetting that life is actually supposed to be about the journey. Sinek points out something really crucial here. He isn't a better thinker just because his books exist in the world. He grew as a person because of the excruciating journey of organizing his thoughts and doing that heavy lifting himself. So this brings us to a brilliant metaphor from Sinek. He says relying entirely on AI is kind of like saying, "Hey, AI is going to provide free boats for everyone," which sounds amazing, right? Except, what happens when a massive storm hits and you literally never learned how to swim? It's a disaster waiting to happen. So the takeaway isn't to reject the tech. Use the AI boat, for sure. But you absolutely still have to endure the struggle of learning how to swim, because that struggle is the only thing that equips you for the unpredictable storms of life and relationships.
Which leads us to part 2, Wabi-sabi, and finding beauty in imperfection.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this completely flips our modern obsession with technological perfection totally on its head. Wabi-sabi is this ancient Japanese concept that teaches us that true beauty is actually found in things that are temporary or imperfect. Think about a piece of handmade Japanese pottery. The glaze might be slightly uneven, the shape might be a little wonky, or think of the irregular, rough bark on an old tree. Things made by a machine are all perfectly identical, and yet they feel a lot less beautiful to us. Things made by hand draw us in precisely because of that human error and imperfection. In a world where an algorithm can just spit out flawless, cookie-cutter content on demand, human error is actually going to become the ultimate luxury. Sinek points out that in the art world right now, buyers are already asking artists to sign affidavits proving their work was made by human hands. And it's not even necessarily because the human art is objectively better than the AI art. It's because we inherently crave the story, the toil, and the undeniable human touch behind the creation. Think about it like this. Even in chess, the matches with the highest viewership aren't computer versus computer. I mean, those games are perfectly predictable and mathematically, well, kind of boring. We want to watch human versus human. It's the exact same in any sport. Obviously, the objective of the athlete is to try not to make a mistake, but the human error is what loses the game, adds the drama, and creates the profound humanity of the entire competition. All right, part 3, the disappearing human skills. We are facing a very real, very urgent danger as we move forward. Think about the last time you avoided an uncomfortable conversation. Sinek warns that if we constantly ask AI to act as a buffer, to resolve our conflicts, write our difficult emails, or soothe our anxieties, these essential human skills are going to atrophy and eventually disappear. You might download an AI app that acts as a perfect, endlessly affirming therapist, but if you only ever talk to the bot, you're never actually learning how to hold space or be a friend to someone in the real world. We are basically outsourcing the exact friction that forces us to build empathy. And this skills deficit, it ties directly into the economy. A lot of the tech leaders building these job-replacing algorithms are constantly proposing universal basic income as the grand solution. But Sinek really pushes back on this. Sure, UBI provides survival money. That's great. But what happens to our purpose, our meaning, our ambition, and our drive when we literally no longer have to struggle, build, or challenge ourselves just to survive and thrive? Meaning isn't just handed to you on a silver platter. It is forged through effort.
So what's the solution? Let's move to part 4, friendship, the ultimate biohack. What is the antidote to this friction-free, hyper-automated world? Because right now, we are looking at an absolute epidemic of disconnection. According to the data Sinek references, a staggering 68% of people dealing with depression identify as lonely. 68%! We are retreating into our screens, isolating ourselves, and trying to protect ourselves from the inherent risks of human interaction. But a perfectly trained AI companion simply cannot fix the deep biological and spiritual need we have to be seen and supported by other real humans.
Sinek defines community, and by extension, deep friendship, as a group of people who agree to grow together. And grow is really the operative word there. Growth implies stretching, it implies discomfort, and it absolutely requires shared struggle. It means you have to actually embrace vulnerability. You can't just be a passive audience member to your friends. You have to take the huge risk of opening up and letting them see all your messy imperfections.
And here is the amazing payoff. Sinek calls friendship the ultimate biohack for longevity, stress, and anxiety. If you do it right, it literally gives you all the health benefits of eating a giant bowl of spinach, but it tastes like a slice of chocolate cake. How great is that? But to get that magical benefit, you have to intentionally prioritize real people over screens. You have to accept the emotional risk of getting hurt and invest your actual time in the messy reality of another person.
So, to make sure we don't just hand our humanity over to convenience, we have to start proactively teaching human skills, especially to the next generation. Sinek argues parents need to physically take the phones away during playdates. When kids mess up, don't let them text, force them to walk next door and give an awkward in-person apology. We have to actively teach peaceful conflict resolution. And honestly, we all need to go out and learn a real, genuinely difficult skill, like playing an instrument or trying to fix that broken pottery, just so we can experience the joy of frustrating, unautomated focus.
As we wrap up this explainer, you're left with a pretty massive fundamental choice. There's no doubt AI is bringing us incredible tools that are going to make our tasks way faster and way easier. But you really have to ask yourself, in the relentless pursuit of the flawless, instant result, are you actually willing to sacrifice the messy, beautiful, imperfect human struggle that gives your life meaning in the first place? Because ultimately, it's not the perfect destination that makes us human, it's the friction of the journey.